there's these glitches that used to happen to Bamboo app for investors in Nigeria and some of the other app like AgriFirst and all. And there is this argument that happened that people were worried about losing their money. That's why I'm doing this video. Is your money really safe in the stock market? Is your money with the app or fintech app you are using to invest? Okay. Is it better with the US and UK rather than Nigeria? So this is just to help you gain this knowledge so that you might understand what you are doing. Okay. Now, many people assume that stock market in Nigeria is totally unsafe. Okay. Or some believe that it is safe everywhere. Okay, but these arguments, they are not totally true. That's why this video is here to educate you. Okay, because being in the market and being protected in the market, you have to know that they can mean two different things. Okay, now these differences I'm trying to compare between Nigeria, UK, US. Okay, what is protected, what is not protected, and how to protect yourself properly. Okay, now let me start with what protection actually means because people might not get it. First, when we say protection, what are we talking about? Your investments cannot lose money? No, that's not what we are talking about, because if you buy the wrong stock, it can go up and go down and you can lose money. Okay, all markets struggles depending on your stock. So the protection we are talking about here is that your money is not stolen, your assets are properly recorded. Okay, that's the protection I mean. And there is a legal structure if something actually goes on how to seek redress and sort things out. Okay, you are protected from fraud and failure of systems and not from bad investment decision. Let's just get that clear. That one is totally different. So now let me talk about the Nigerian stock market. In Nigeria, the stock market is regulated by the Security and Exchange Commission, okay, in Nigeria, which is SEC, and by the Nigerian Exchange Group, okay, which is the NGS. Now, what is protected? The truth is your shares are not held by the app. They are registered in and under your name through the CSCS, which is short form from Central Securities and Clearing System, okay? Now, meaning what I'm saying in English is if your app disappeared today, your stock are still well registered, okay, and they are held by the company, okay, and they have licensed brokers which the NGS and SEC track, and these are your stocks are registered in proof registered. Okay, so this makes it clear that your stock are not with the apps and even if you have crashed today, your stock are still well safe and you can have access to that. Okay, so in a nutshell, protection exists, but there's something I want you to know. Nigeria Stock Exchange is improving and growing in strength and better every day, but there are some drawbacks they still have. They have gaps in regulatory enforcement, okay, and the market is still an emerging market, so that challenge is still there with their currency risks as well, though that's not intrinsic in itself to the stock market's problem, but these are some of the challenges inherent in developing market like Nigeria. Whereas in the US, okay, their own is also regulated by the Securities and the Exchange Commission, and they also have Securities Investor Protection Corporation, okay. Whereas in the UK is by the Financial Conduct Authority, okay, we call them the FCA, okay, and they also have the Financial Service Compensation Scheme. Now, All these names, you don't even need them. Let me tell you what you need. The US and UK have stronger enforcement, and companies are more scrutinized, and fraud is punished faster, and investor compensation scheme are there, which I didn't talk about in Nigeria. Okay, like in US, they are covered up to $500,000, whereas in the UK, they are covered up to $85,000. So, what have you succeeded in picking from this video now? Is that your stocks are not held by the app. Bamboo, Afriverse, Cowrywise, Trove. No, they are just the portal through which you make your transaction. Once you log in and make your transaction, okay, it gets registered under your name. Okay, so and it's not held with the app. All right. So in Nigeria, structure still exists, though the difference here is that it's not as strong as the US and UK, and their enforcement is improving. It's not yet as robust, okay? Whereas in the UK and US, their enforcement is quite robust. So that's just the difference, okay? So, but this misconception that people say my stock is in Bamboo app, no. Your stock is in the capital market, not with the app you're using, okay? And it's registered under your name, and the app is just an access point. Know this so that you can sleep easy, and so that you can know your investment is not as vulnerable as you think, okay? Now, if the app disappears today, your stock does not disappear, okay? That does not mean there is zero risks, but it means that you are not like the way they do in those Ponzi, that when it crashes, you say, oh, it has crashed, you have lost everything. No, okay? And this is the most important thing you should take of this video today, okay? And whether in Nigeria, whether in US, or whether in UK, your safety in the market depends on your behavior, because now I've told you about the regulation it itself, okay? So use regulated platforms so that you might not buy where it's not really a stock market trading you are doing, okay? And most importantly, invest in strong company. Diversify among these strong company. Avoid hype and speculation. Like I personally, I invest in the blue chip, okay? Even though sometimes I see hype, all these penny stocks rise like crypto in those funny way. I have gotten experience, and I know that those major cap companies are more safe, even though there is still some element of risks, okay? But that is different from the protection we are talking about. But even if the company crumbles today, maybe they start having issues, their fundamentals change, they stop making profits. That's not that the stock market didn't protect me. It's that I bought a stock that failed. Should get that. So, do you trust the Nigerian stock market better now with this video? Or you don't? I know, yes, we prefer the security in the US, the UK, but those are advanced economies. And we are coming up, okay? I have investments in all those places, but I think Nigerian Stock Exchange, they are trying. And with the BVN, with the CSCS, with the CSNA, CHN, you understand? There is this link that makes it hard for someone to just, collect your funds. And with them reducing to T1 now, which I will talk about in another video, is also a good thing. Okay, so see you on the next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.